What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to The Order. Captain America is one of my favorite characters in the comics and in the MCU, and he's one of the best characters in Marvel's Midnight Suns. In this video, I want to talk about why you need to invest in Cap and make him one of the cornerstone members of your team, and the importance of having a great tank in your squad. I also want to break down his deck and the card combos that really help him shine most. If you're into Midnight Suns and looking for more content covering the game, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more weekly news, updates, and insight. So let's start with what makes Cap so great. When it comes to team damage mitigation, Cap is the absolute king at keeping both himself and the team out of harm's way through the absolutely insane amount of ways he has to gain block. Block in Midnight Suns essentially operates as a blue second health bar that will absorb any incoming damage up to the amount of block that you have before hitting your actual health bar. The amount of block a character has cannot exceed the maximum amount of health they have. In Midnight Suns, Cap is the king of block, starting with his passive ability that you'll earn by advancing him past Friendship Level 2. Cap's passive All Day allows him to start a mission with a small amount of block, but his upgraded passive, which is unlocked at Friendship Level 4, gives him the ability to not only start with block, but add a little bit more on every turn. But this is just the starting point of what makes Cap so insane. When you dig into his cards in his ideal tank deck, things become way more beefy. The central abilities in a Cap tank deck start with Dig In. This skill allows Cap to taunt every enemy targeting one of his allies, gain a big chunk of block, and then stack a counter on top of this. This is an essential skill to have on turns when an entire enemy group is focused on one of your other heroes and you immediately want to turn their attention onto your tanky Cap. The amount of block he gets is great, but what makes this card so effective is the counter and how it pairs well with another card in his deck. Counter means that Cap will do damage to every one of his attackers on the enemy turn, so all those enemies Cap just taunted, he'll punch or fling his shield right back in their face. Which is great, right? You're doing a bunch of damage to enemies on their turn. But what really makes this work best is if you manage to use the best defense card prior to this. The best defense makes it so all Cap's damage is returned to him as block for 2 turns. I'm sure at this point you can put 2 and 2 together and see why this is so insane. If you manage to pair the best defense with Dig In, you will have the ability to taunt most of the enemy field, absorb much of their damage with block, counter them, and then get that counter damage right back as block. People, I can't stress this enough, this is one of the most effective card combinations in the game and allows Cap to absorb an incredible amount of damage, dish out damage, and mitigate most of the impact of the enemy turn. The rest of Cap's deck is mostly situational for me. I always bring a quick card in every character's deck for minions and cleanup, and you'll notice the huge emphasis on his attack cards of drawing additional cards on KO, allowing you to filter through your deck faster, which is important in trying to get to key cards quicker. Tactician is the 4th skill card I bring along. It's a good fallback option in the event that you're unable to pull a Dig In, as it'll give everyone block and draw 2 cards, increasing the chances of getting into the hand that you want. And I've got a mod adding an additional redraw to help with that. And lastly, I like to bring his 2 low-cost heroics, Spang and Shield Bounce, for solid damage. Again, Spang has the benefit of drawing cards on KO and is a nice potential finisher on an enemy targeting Cap. Shield Bounce is really solid for additional taunts and the weak effect, especially if used after Dig In, as it'll make the enemies that attack Cap hit far softer, and the mod I roll with increases his area of effect, which feels like a must. And one final note, I like to use the free mod on my copies of Dig In, as it allows me to use this essential taunt skill with 0 card play cost. While that does reduce Cap's overall heroism generation, you can make up for that with other characters. My reason for this being that it's a fantastic skill, but I don't want to get into the habit of burning valuable card plays on abilities that don't have an immediate impact on the team's turn. While I do think Wolverine is a viable candidate for best tank in Midnight Suns as well, Cap is just so godly when it comes to damage absorption and mitigation for the entire team. I'd love to know in the comments below who you've been using as your primary tank in Midnight Suns and your general thoughts on Cap as a character in the game. If you liked this video or found it helpful at all, be sure to hit it with a like and subscribe to the channel for more Midnight Suns coverage and insight. Until next time, have a good one.